Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
Hello, and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman, and, put your snorkels on, guys. Get that bathing suit on. And if you're a mermaid listening, get ready for our presence, because we are going under the sea to talk with mermaid expert Laura von Holt. And of course, we're going to review a romance novel as well. But I had met Laura von Holt on this Zoom cocktail hour, and I was like, she seems like the coolest person in the world, and I need to meet her. And I was like, I have to have her on the show. So Laura is the host of the Mermaid Podcast, which is another podcast on the Frolic Podcast Network. And here is a little more about it.
Hi, I'm Laura von Holt from the Mermaid Podcast, part of the Frolic Podcast Network. The Mermaid Podcast is, you guessed it, all about mermaids. I cover everything from mermaid legend and history to mermaids in pop culture, movies, and TV. My guests include mermaid experts, mermaid historians, mermaid authors, mermaid charities, mermaid tale makers, and even professional mermaids. Yes, being a mermaid is a real job. So whether you have legs or fins, are a mermaid queen or a mermaid at heart, the Mermaid Podcast has something for you. You can find us at mermaidpodcast.com and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
So, after we get ourselves out of under the sea, onto the land, we dry ourselves off, we're then going to review the novella Something to Howl About by Christine Warren, which is currently $1.99. So please enjoy this episode with Laura von Holt. Well, Laura, welcome to Too Stupid to Live.
So good. Wait, and I already have a story to tell.
Oh my God,
I
great.
was, so in this land of pandemica that we live in, you might be familiar with it. I comfort watching a lot of things, and I was hungover because I saw a friend for the first time in months and couldn't control myself. So I was hungover the next day. And my comfort movie for being hungover is Twilight, which is also a shifter story, as is the book we're going to talk about. And I was watching New Moon, which I think the ones that are usually like on TV that I rewatch are the later two movies.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that one in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole movie is Bella just being too stupid to live.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Just like jumping off cliffs and like going off of motorcycles and like, and I was like, oh, I forgot that like,
Is that the one where she like cuts herself to stop the war between the vampires and the...
No, that's where it's like Edward has this. Oh yeah, she does kind of cut herself by accident at her birthday party that the vampires throw her.
Right. Yeah. Okay, got it.
And then Edward's like, oh no, my love is too dangerous. I'm gonna remove myself.
Oh, he goes to like Italy or something.
Yeah, he leaves, and so then she's very depressed, and then she's like, he only shows up in like a ghost-like form when she's in danger, and so then she starts courting danger to be able to see him. Yeah,
she's legit. Yeah. That's too stupid to live.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes, I mean, I really don't recommend it as like a form of like intimacy building, is to leave the person you love, but then only come back in like corporeal form. I just don't recommend it.
Yeah.
No,
it's not the greatest way to have a love.
No, but I mean, I still love the movie and like couldn't get over it. And even like when I rewatched the first one, where like, oh my God, my favorite moment, which I had forgotten about, was when she walks into the classroom and the fan picks up her scent and sends it to him, and he looks like he's both popping a boner and gonna throw up at the same time. And I was like, I like paused it and rewatched it 3 times because I was like, I forgot how great and insane this whole premise is. So good.
Need to rewatch the movie because it's like it just got available somewhere. Yeah. So I think I might do that tonight. I might have like a glass of wine and rewatch it because I just like need candy. I need brain candy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's just like all I can like handle right now.
Yeah, I mean, I recommend. I forgot to introduce myself.
Oh, yay! Okay, sure. Well, I first met you the Frolic Podcast Network had a Zoom cocktail hour, and you were talking about Jessica Simpson's memoir, and I was like, I want to be friends with her so bad.
Also, a recommendation. The Jessica Simpson memoir, by the way,
I listened to it.
Great. Oh, you did?
So
okay,
good.
Great. Yeah. You have to listen to the audiobook. I felt like I should have given a like content warning in that there is some assault in the first like few chapters when she's a kid, so people can fast forward. You don't really need that part. What you really just want to get to is like the Mickey Mouse Club auditions, and then the Nick Lachey years, and then the John Mayer years.
John Mayer sucks. That guy sucks.
I mean, he's just the worst. You knew he was the worst from like some reports, but after her book, you're like, I just don't think this guy should be allowed to socialize or talk to women or anything. Like, he's a sociopath.
Yeah, he's a full-on gaslighter.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the worst.
He's everyone he's canceled. He's the worst.
Yeah, he needs to get. I hope he's canceled. I don't even pay attention to him.
It did make me feel better. I live in New York, and one time I was in a club with John Mayer.
Oh my God.
And like I didn't know that it was like a bar club, and I didn't really know that he was there, but it's a very fancy bar, so I should have guessed. And I like my friends were sitting right near the door, and I went to go like order a drink or something, and when I turned around I realized he was passing me and heading out the door, and my friends see me, and I stood behind him and I started like making like rodeo motions like as he's like walking out the door behind him, and my friends start laughing, so he turns around and looks at me, and then I freeze like, hey, nothing's happening. And then he turned around and then I start like doing it again. And I was like, oh, that was kind of like a dick move. I made like fun of him behind his back. But now I know that I was actually...
He fucking deserved it.
He deserved it. Yeah. All of my gentle mocking. I should have gone harder.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm glad he got something. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like your story made me feel like, okay, good. Someone showed him this place.
I did not take him seriously in that fancy bar where he was being taken very seriously.
Oh my God.
With like multiple bouncers, like his own security guards, like escorting him out.
Yeah. Oh my God. He's just, God. Okay. So now I want to...
I got that question. Hey, let's do it. This is going great.
Laura, so you are the host of the Mermaid Podcast.
The Mermaid Podcast.
Can you tell us more about it? But I also want to know like more about like your love of mermaids, the world of mermaids, merfolk, all of it. I just need to know all of it.
Okay, yeah, let's see. Okay, so where should I start? Okay, so the Mermaid Podcast is, as you may have guessed, a podcast about mermaids. So it's a straight up SEO decision on the title there. There's no like fake out with the topic. Like it is about mermaids, and I named it the Mermaid Podcast.
Perfect.
So
Good marketing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So the Mermaid Podcast is a podcast where I talk about mermaids, but mostly I talk about mermaid history or mermaid folklore, what I consider the nonfiction parts of mermaiding.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the real life stories. And then a tangent to that, there is a cultural phenomenon globally, really, where mermaiding is a sport or a hobby. So it's the act of like swimming around with a fake costume tail, sometimes very high end, sometimes not. And people do like serious free diving or performance competitions. Or exhibitions, or they'll be like at a circus or a Renaissance fair and perform as mermaids. So I interview people who they're real mermaids. I mean, I'm not going to say they're not, but they perform also as mermaid characters.
That's do you do that too?
I've done it a little bit. I very quickly realized that was not the life path for me. It is. I always tell people, like, when you get a mermaid tail, you should be very careful and have like a safety guard with you, because you put on the tail and then it like kind of transforms you mentally, and you think that you are now going to have like the gills and the swimming capacity of a mermaid, but you in fact retain all of your normal mortal coil. So you still have to be able to like swim and breathe. And like, if you're not that good at swimming or breathing, you're not going to be better with tail on. So I have gone to mermaid camp, and that is like the beginning of the podcast. And one of the first episodes is when I went to mermaid camp, and I learned mermaid tricks from like professional lifelong mermaids.
Cool.
And I was like, this is so great. And I feel so beautiful. And this is the most magical thing that I've ever done. In no way can I do this on the regular. I will be much happier if this is like a hobby and an occasional thing, and not like, I mean, also like I moved to New York, and I've been a performer in a lot of ways, but I have not been like I've done a circus performing, but not like not as much regular gig performing as a professional mermaid does, with like birthday parties and corporate events and swimming in tanks and swimming in like aquariums. And I was like, I think like really quickly for me, the sheen would wear off once you're like wringing out your tail and your wig and like re-sewing their bra and like gluing the things on the crown. But very quickly the magic would be gone. Yeah. And I'm much more interested. I've always been interested in fairy tales and folklore and romance. And so I was like, I would much rather stick to the folklore and talking about like mermaid books and talking about mermaid stories and legends. And then also I now kind of have like a socio-political kind of, or like anthropological interest in mermaids. And I have like a lot of deep theories about like why they are still so interesting and like how that has changed over the eons. So that's what I cover in the podcast.
That's so cool. So, what, cause like, I feel like most of when we first hear mermaid, we think like the Little Mermaid, but there's all these other different like mythologies of mermaids. And like, what is one that you feel like people should know about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just so interesting to you that maybe in general we don't know.
I think most people are obviously the most familiar with The Little Mermaid, and that's the predominant mythology because of the Disney movie.
Right,
But what I think people should know is that every culture throughout the world has some sort of mermaid or water spirit mythology. So it's in everything. The Hans Christian Andersen Little Mermaid is what I think people first go to, and that is the tragic story. It's the Disney movie made it happier, but the original tale is like very dark. I did a podcast episode about like the secrets behind the Little Mermaid. There's a lot of actual like queer history and like art history behind it that's not in the Disney movie. So I think the Disney movie makes people think of like mermaids as like very free and very beautiful, and most other mermaid stories are really kind of tragic. In that like the legend, they'll be like drowning sailors, or they will be like women who lost in love and drown themselves and then come back and drown men as like forms of revenge. And I'm kind of into like murderous women, so I like that.
Me too. Yeah.
So like Killing Eve meets mermaids is like right up my alley.
Great.
And then I think, so the Hans Christian Andersen tale is a big influence, and the Disney movie is a big influence. But there's actually a lot of mermaid water spirits in Africa that have, and those legends have made their way around the world and are kind of actually in a more subtle way, like a bigger influence on more cultures, but like the pop culture influence all ties back to The Little Mermaid.
Right. Yeah.
So there's an African water spirit called Mami Wata, who is an embodiment of the ocean. Mm-hmm. And versions of her have made their way to South America and then have kind of been transformed to other legends there. So like there are mermaids who are a bigger deal than The Little Mermaid.
Right. Yeah.
But in the U.S., at least, the Little Mermaid is everyone's entrance into mermaid.
Sure.
So,
yeah. And so you were talking about like you're interested in more like anthropological studies of mermaids. Like, can you talk about that a little more of like what that means?
Well, so one of my favorite interviews that I did is with a historian named Sarah Peverly, and like she has. If I had thought of this sooner and also gone to grad school, this is what I probably would have turned into as a mermaid historian. I was like, oh, no one told me that was like the path. Yeah. I didn't know. But she's predominantly a medieval scholar and she's in the UK. So, and there's a ton of mermaid lore in the UK. Mm-hmm. So she studies a lot of that. And she and I had a great conversation in one of our interviews, and it was great because it kind of confirmed for me a lot of things that I noticed. But essentially she was saying the same thing, that like mermaids have been in every culture, in every place around the world. And that mermaids have always been fascinating to humans. And we talked about how in the medieval times, people thought of the ocean in the way that we modern people think of space. So it was like an unknown realm to explore. And like, like the map at some point ended. Maybe the earth was flat and then it just drifted off. And at the end of the map, you just drew like a monster and was like, "Rawr, don't go there that far." We don't know. It's the end of the known world. And one of the medieval ideas about the ocean is that, it reminds me of like what spiritual people will be like, as above, so below. But it's the same thing. Like they were like, oh, if there are humans on land, then there must be people under the sea. And they spend all day. Like the artwork is like them cooking and cleaning in their pots and like taking care of their mermaid house. And like they have a sea cow and a sea horse, because we have cows and horses, and they have like a garden of seaweed. And we like, so it was like the same thing, but just under the sea. Yeah. And so, and that I thought like explained a lot of like, just like when you see like the very like simplistic artwork of mermaids, in other centuries, it looks a little like kind of charming. They're just like people, but under the sea. Or the imagination goes the other way and they're like terrible monsters, like in Greek history, that are going to like curse you and drown you and whatever. But I think the same idea still stands in that, to me, the ocean is a mirror, and it is a way to think about and reflect on like who we are and our place in the world. And my working theory, this is my master's degree in mermaids. My working theory is that in the way that people very literally thought of mermaids as like just like us, but underneath the ocean, we now think of mermaids. We have a relationship to them that's like very figurative, that I think in like the modern way where like communities are different, systems are falling, religion is not as important as it once was. Humans are looking for a place in the world, and the ocean is a metaphor for the subconscious. Okay. So mermaids are a way for us to think about our place in like the universal hierarchy. Like I think, and I always tell people like whatever you're drawn to in mermaids is something that you're probably searching for information as far as like self-awareness. So like, I think we think about them because like the oceans are changing and there's environmental questions about our future. So like mermaids are like ambassadors for the ocean. And you can think of how are the mermaids affected by the changing waters? How am I affected by the changing climate?
Right. Yeah.
I think it's no coincidence that like in a time when we have like the greatest technology that we've ever had with like these little magical computers in our hands, the mermaid tail technology is just very simple costuming. And yet it's like exploded in popularity.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a quest for like a sense of our natural or wild self. And people like want to put on a tail and feel like part of nature and feel wild and feel free and feel like unconstrained by the addiction of their phone and feel a connection to like the imagination and the wildness of our subconscious. So I think mermaids have always been a way for us to think about ourselves, but I think we think about the way we need to think about ourselves now has changed.
Sure.
Like we don't have the like we don't have the hierarchy of like the sun is fixed or the earth is fixed and the sun revolves around us. Like now we know that there are like planets and galaxies and that we are part of something bigger. And mermaids are an easy way to think of like a mermaid in a big ocean is a way to think of like our tiny planet in a big cosmos.
Interesting. Yeah. That's so fascinating.
That's my working theory.
I love it. I love it. Because like when you were talking, I was like thinking about like, okay, well, why did I love The Little Mermaid? And there was like something, it looked like when they were swimming, they were flying. And there was a sense of like freedom and they were graceful and like, you know what I mean? And I feel like, oh, is that something that I want? Like, just like a sense of like freedom to be able to like float and look pretty and do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, no, 100%. I think like I said, the ocean is a metaphor for the subconscious and the mermaids are masters of the unknown.
Yeah.
And like, that's like just being able to get just the feeling of like being underwater and swimming. Like as a little kid, I would just like, put my feet together and pretend that was a tail, right? Right. Like so many people have that experience. And just like that, the brief moment of being like, no, like I can survive this incredibly cruel climate and like do whatever I want and have like magical powers and be like beautiful and sing. Like the way that sparks a different sense of self is I think important. And there's a lot to do right now, especially with like mermaids and identity. The mermaid is an important figure for the trans community. Mermaids are an important figure because because their genitals are kind of uncertain, because like their identity is unknown.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are able to like see themselves in merfolk in a way that they might not see a place for themselves in modern society.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. That's so fascinating. You also write romances, mermaid romances. Oh my God. Can you talk about that and how you got into it? I read your Splash one, which I really liked, which was that was like a human romance, but like you also write ones that like that are like about King Triton. Yeah. Sort of. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Mermaid Podcast also started as just like my own mercenary marketing technique because I was like, well, okay, so I knew I was going to start. I have a whole long history of romance that we could talk about too, but I knew I was going to start writing romance novels. And because I come from showbiz, I was like, you got to get a gimmick. So I was like, well, I'll write mermaid romance and then people will remember. Yeah. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I always go right to like, before I even write anything, I'm like, how famous will this get me? And so I was like, well, clearly like someone's going to need to interview me about writing mermaid romance. And I was like, well, I'll just go on a podcast. And then there were no mermaid podcasts. So then I was like, oh, I'll just start the Mermaid Podcast. And then I'll just interview people and then talk about myself at the same time.
Perfect.
So that worked out great. Worked out great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So mermaid romance. So I don't even know how I came up with this idea. I think it's that I've read a lot of, what it came out as was like kind of an amalgamation of everything I ever read, which I first started reading historical because, those were just like left. We had a family beach place and people would just leave things on the bookshelf. And there'd be historical romances and I would be like, oh, what's this? And like hide under my beach towel and like, like you do, sneak it out and be like, oh yeah, this is really good. Okay, yeah. And then, but they were also like, romance has always been like this magical thing where like, I never knew you could like go to a store and get more of them. Right. They just like kept appearing magically in my life. And I'd be like, this is great. Yeah. Like, I don't know how these come here, but they're here. So it was kind of that same way, like in college, like I had a friend who read them and would kind of like give them to me. And then I just didn't know that you could go, I don't know why it never occurred to me. Like I got other books, but I didn't know you could like get romance books.
Yeah.
But I always read a lot of historical, and then I started reading paranormal at some point. And so that kind of flipped in my mind where I really like paranormal and anything with like a supernatural element, but I also read a lot of historical. And so I always wanted the paranormals to be old timey and not contemporary.
Yeah,
and a lot
totally.
of paranormals are more urban fantasy.
Yeah.
So that's where they blended in. And then, so when I was like, okay, I'm going to write romance now. And I signed up for a class and I was like, I'm going to write, I think probably because I was watching Twilight or something. I was like vampire mermaids. Yeah, totally. 100%.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
So I started writing one for this class that I was taking. Also, thank God I took that class because it really clued me into how hard romance authors work. Because I was like, I took a lot of writing classes in college, but also like was a playwright. You like work on your own time and then you have like rehearsals and you write more there. Like it's very collaborative.
Yeah.
This was like 10 to 15 pages every week. And I was like, oh, damn, they're like, this is not like a 3-page essay. Like you got to write a whole book. Yeah. So I started, I was like, I'm going to write mermaid romance. And I started writing a like vampire mermaid thing. And then I kind of realized that you had to plot books and think about them harder.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot to learn on that level. And so then I decided to start smaller and I was like, I'll just write a couple of novellas to kind of figure out like my style and what I'm doing. So then I decided I had this idea where this probably has to do with like I just told you my working theory of mermaids, but I was like, okay, here's what bothers me about The Little Mermaid.
Sure.
Okay.
Perfect.
Number one, mermaid stories are tragic and they have tragic endings. And usually if a human and a mermaid fall in love, they can never be. Right. And that just makes me mad. Yeah. So I was like, I've got to figure out a way for like mermaids and humans to get together. Also, very important. My like favorite movie as a kid was Splash with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks, where she is a mermaid that comes to New York City. And it wasn't until I saw this movie a few years ago that I realized the whole reason I moved to New York was because of Splash. And it was just like, I imprinted like Jacob in Twilight. I imprinted on New York and was like, if you go to New York, you can be a mermaid and fall in love. And I was like, life plan solved.
Perfect.
So that's how I was like, guys are really finding out how to make my life decisions here. Okay, so
great, perfect.
So I did remember that like Splash was a romance that had a happy ending and they figured it out, right? Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna, and then I also so I have a bone to pick with Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, we all do. Yeah.
Okay. So
don't worry.
I'm mad at Romeo and Juliet, well, because they die, but also I'm mad at Romeo and Juliet because I was like, everyone's always like, oh, it's so sad, like teenagers that, die too young, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but nobody talks about how like the real issue here is that the two most powerful families of Verona were about to merge. And that was going to have like huge socioeconomic impact on like the Verona and like Italian economy and Italian culture. Like they're going to have like a mafia like dynasty. Yeah. And then the family messed it up for themselves because of their feud. Right. And then the poor kids were the victims of that. Right. But I was almost like, okay, so The Little Mermaid is great. She marries the prince and it's in like Europe-ish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's like late 1800s-ish. And I'm like, well, if I think about that a little harder, and I did. Yeah. Not too long after the 1800s is the early 1900s, and not too long after that is World War II. So what if like there is a half mermaid dynasty in Europe during World War II? Huh? Yeah. Watch out, Verona. So I had this whole idea for like how mermaids in World War II would, and this is my idea. Nobody steal it. It's coming. I shouldn't even give it away, but I'm going to. Oh my God. But so I had a whole idea for like World War II and mermaids. And I was like, okay, so back up. Like, if we really think about this, the Little Mermaid's marriage is like has huge global impact. It's not just like, yay, a mermaid and a thing. And the other thing about this is like a lot of mermaid stories are like, so this is one of my favorite mermaid facts is that there is like a whole line of French nobility who claim they are descended from a mermaid that married a Scottish king. Okay. And why this relates to France, I can never quite remember, but it's like a French thing. Okay. Sure. And so I'm always like, in the olden timey stories, like, yeah, a mermaid married a king and now we're descended. And I'm like, no, but like if we take that literally, like, do you marry Queen Victoria's grandson? Like, where does this go? Where does this go? Yeah. Yeah. So I decided that I would write something about not Ariel's dad, because like King Triton is a real Greek demigod.
Yes. Yeah.
Or he's not even a
God.
demigod. That means half that. He's a god. I call him a demigod, but he's a god.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, poor Triton. First of all, one of my friends was like, I've been watching Little Mermaid with my niece, and can you write me some like super hot Silver Daddy fanfic? And I was like, yeah, girl, I got you. So King Triton is hot. He's hot. Yeah, big burly silver fox.
He has his abs.
Yeah, a widower, like rough.
Yeah,
lots of teenage mermaid daughters. Not an easy thing to do.
No,
raising these girls.
And did you see Ariel's beginning?
I have seen. Well, I have seen it, but it wasn't. We were drinking a lot, so.
Oh, me too. I was pretty stoned when I watched it, but but poor guy has like trauma. He's dealing with trauma.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll start off with King Triton, and I'll write him something where he meets a human lady, and so the King of the Sea is the first thing that I put out, and it's a novella, and it is King Triton on his way to like avenge his daughter and be like, no way will you marry a human on my watch. Humans are wrong. There also is a penniless orphan who is in the Opera de Monte Carlo, which is a real opera house. And she's not allowed to dance because like the ballet mistress is a jerk. And so she's like on the beach dancing her feelings. And of course he spots her and it's like, it's insta love. So like fated mates basically. But she is a career woman. So like spoiler alert, like she has to stay in the human world for part of the time because she's a dancer and she's really famous in this opera house. But they are kind of like the starting point for like all of these love affairs. So like, so in meeting this human woman and like realizing that humans are not all trash, he's like, I need to reconsider that like my daughter's happiness is what's most important, not like my like preconceived notions of what humans are, and that like humans have a heart and like, the heart wants what the heart wants. So Triton like learns from just one very sexy night that changes his mind as can happen.
That's what all world changes happen.
Yes. And so the second book, Princess of the Sea, is a novella very heavily inspired by the wedding of Meghan Markle.
Oh my God, I was just about to like comment on that about like there is something very Little Mermaid-y about it.
I was like no, I like she's like like a foreign land and like very different cultures and like so this Princess of the Sea is the story of their wedding and like also because again like I said like I'm really mad at Romeo and Juliet for not giving me the Dynasty movie I wanted about so I'm like okay, so like I always thought, I mean, people have controversial opinions now that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have left, but I always thought it was like really interesting that she was so involved in like the Commonwealth and like like entrepreneurship for young women and like feminism, and like she had like all these ideas of things to contribute to like their very serious job of being working royals. And I was like, so like and maybe back in the 1300s you could kind of hide a mermaid bride, but like you can't really, so they have to like kind of lie to people. They're like, she's sort of an island kingdom there, and I have lots of like jokes in it about like, don't tell these people because they think they know every island, but you can tell these people the story. Like and like what's she going to contribute to like, Triton is going to make sure they have lots of fish. Like what's she going to contribute to the local economy? And then like, how can they form like a very strong dynasty that can last through like, 100 years or so.
Sure. Well, what's going to happen? I hope it lasts more than 100 years.
I mean, me too, totally. Yeah. But I mean, forever. Like, but like, I was like, European families, like they, like it gets in the 1914, it gets really intense of like how people are related in Europe and how that relates to like wars. And so I mean, who knows where, I mean, I kind of know where the series will go eventually, but I have all sorts of ideas for how like the Little Mermaid's progeny end up being very important to global events.
That's so awesome. I'm so excited because I purchased the first one. Oh gosh, what's the title? Where it's King Triton and
King of the Sea.
King of the Sea.
Yeah.
I started. I didn't finish it. I will finish it. I promise. Because I bought it today. But it's so good so far. By the way,
Thank you.
I love it. And
And so that couple, like, you know, their novella's pretty short, but like you're going to see them in other books and stuff too. Like that's the fun of it. I also love like, okay, so my favorite thing is when there's like a May December thing and it's like no problem in a contemporary where it's like, oh, okay, there's a few years, but when it's like a god and like he's like thousands of years old and like and at the wedding of his daughter like more kids pop up and she's like, how many kids do you have? And everyone's like, we don't really talk about that, you don't know.
That was so great though, because it was like there was something like gods came down as like gooses and shit and like, do you know what I mean? And like they have random kids all the time.
In his youth, like who knows? So like
I thought it was genius because like you mentioned like his like half son or he has a son that's not part of the daughter. Well, obviously, but you know what I mean? Like,
he's got like all these kids, and I was like, I'll just keep putting up more characters, and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's also my kid.
It's so genius. It's genius.
It's my little inside joke with Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Like, how many kids? So that's the Sea of Love series, and the first two, and those first two, I think it was kind of like prequels to what I will write later, which like will take place in subsequent decades, but those are like a prequel duology. And then because I like rom-coms and I like fairy tales and other books, I had an idea to kind of play around with like modern fairy tales. So Splash Me is, well, it was actually, I wrote it because I submitted to an anthology and then I got rejected. So I just published it. I know, whatever, their loss.
I thought it was really cute, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it is inspired by Splash, which I just told you guys was formative for me. And it is Kevin and April are a couple who live in New York City, and April has a very specific fantasy regarding Splash, and Kevin is just the guy for the job. Just the guy
because like it was also this like beautiful love story. Like it was like, oh, by what they did is like, this is love. Like that's how it ended for me. I'm like, this is true love. She found it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was like, if you can tell something like the weirdest idea you ever had and they're like, I'm down, then it's like, you cannot buy love like that. No.
Yeah. And just how committed he was so committed.
100 more committed. Like, as I was writing, I was like, he's more committed than I am. And I thought of this idea.
Like I would break character all the time and be like, is this okay? I feel stupid. Sorry.
That's one of my favorite things is like, he starts to role play and she's like, oh, we don't have to like, and he's like, no, we're doing it. It's like, oh, okay. He's like, he like memorized the lines.
So good.
Yeah. And so then I thought, so that is like that one has a mermaid tale and a mermaid story in it, but it's not a mermaid, like a paranormal mermaid.
Right.
And then the next one in that series is a different friend of April's who, it's a running joke between all my friends. I have like a big thing for redheads. So like I imprinted somehow. Yes, you have red. I know, I noticed. I was like, oh, those are you're my good luck symbol. It's always good luck for me when I see a ginger.
Oh, yeah. I got it. This is a lot of pressure and I hope something
No,
really
that's fine.
Okay.
It's just a running joke with my friends. And so then I was like, well, I'll put a redhead in like pretty much everything.
Sure.
And so Pumpkin Pounder is, I mean, I've said the title so much that it doesn't even faze me now, but it's a funny title because somebody sent me a video of a guy's comedy act. I need to write him and tell him actually that he really helped me out. But he was doing a comedy about he's a redhead and in high school, like nobody wanted to hook up with him. And then he found out that like Pumpkin Pounder is a title for women who only sleep with redheads. And and that made me think of like a Sex and the City, like Samantha kind of character. And so this one is about Daisy, and she's like a self-titled pumpkin pounder and like a lady on the town. And it's set on a Halloween party on a bar on a boat, which is based off of a real bar that a friend of mine used to work at. And we had some parties there, like there was no, like, now it would be like illegal. Like, we were not up to code. There was no lights. Like, I can't believe we all didn't die. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I was talking to him recently. He was like, yeah, did you know that like when I would close up bartending at 2 a.m., we would just like throw a kayak into the Hudson River and like row around drunk? And I was like, you lived? I was like, the Hudson River was not that clean 15 years ago.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah. And so anyway, so Daisy meets this like very handsome Irishman at the party, and it is their kind of like insta love story. So it's a Cinderella retelling, like a reverse Cinderella.
Yeah.
It's got a Nightmare Before Christmas bent to it.
Cool.
It's got a lot of nods to Sex and the City and the Golden Girls and like any other like woman on TV who's sexually adventurous.
Yeah.
Like Blanche Devereaux, Samantha Jones, the Broad City Girls. Like, yeah.
Nice. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and then I secretly have some other like mermaid fantasy stuff that I'm working on, but it's not for public consumption yet. So,
okay. But it will be?
Maybe? It will be.
Yay!
Yeah.
Because like I found, like when I was like reading, I was like, oh, I have a new genre now. I have a new.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's so great. Yeah. I love it. But do you want to pivot to the book we're reviewing?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And I was very excited that we did like a shifter story because like
same. Yeah.
Because mermen are shifters, but there's a whole sub genre of like shifter books that people are like into.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. So let me give a quick synopsis. But so we read the novella Something to Howl About by Christine Warren. It is currently $1.99.
Ooh, great.
I know, such a good deal. Okay, so here we go. Alpha Washington, aka Alphaville, is a place where outcast shifters live. Dr. Annie Cryer is one of them, but she doesn't plan on staying there long. Once she figures out the fertility issues plaguing the brown bear shifters, she plans on returning to her clan. However, her heart gets pulled in a different direction when she runs into the one who could become her mate, Jonas Browning. The only catch, Jonas doesn't mate. Kind of.
Drama.
Kind of. Yeah, well, we learned.
It's a romance. We'll figure it out.
Well, yeah, the mating happens. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, don't worry.
Just wanted to raise the stakes in the synopsis. Can we talk about the title first? Because I think it is so I love song title paranormals.
I was like, let's give them something to howl about.
And the next one is like, baby, I'm howling for you. And I'm like, this is great.
Yes.
This is great.
Yes. No, I definitely appreciate that too. I was like, thank you. Yeah. I also like how any book with a wolf has to have a wolf on the cover. Like, that's the law.
Agree. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Because if it's like not, then you're like, we judge books by its cover, in a way, for romances, for sure.
Well, and one time I read a shifter book that had a wolf in it, but there was no wolf on the cover. And I remember being like, there's a wolf in this book? Like, like, there wasn't one on the cover. Yeah. No, I don't know how you do that. Yeah.
It's this, again, marketing, the cover is like just as important.
Yeah, exactly. This also had me. I mean, one thing that I like about shifter books is that the fated mate trope is one of my favorites. So the idea that like intense forever bond is like
it's so insane to me, and like it's just like. But there's also like something that's so appealing about like this level of convenience of like not having to like slog through.
100%. I think that's why I like it. Is like, and also that like, even if your human parts are kind of like, I'm not sure, I have reservations, you can like, eventually you can like completely rely on this instinct to like point you in the right direction. So like, even if you're second guessing, like, I don't know, this wasn't really my plan this week. Like your instinct is like, tough luck, lady. Like this is your guy.
Yeah. And it's like one less thing to worry about. And what I thought was interesting in this book is that like, more so than in other books, but like the characters really talk about their inner wolves or their inner bear as if like they're two separate people. Like it was more so for me than other ones of like, she's closing her eyes and she's like she's picturing this wolf howling. And it was like fascinating to me.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. Because sometimes the people will just have characteristics of their animal version. And then sometimes they'll also transform into the animal version. And actually it wasn't quite clear in this world how often people actually became bears or wolves. And I haven't read other ones in this. And I haven't read other ones in this series. So I don't know when. And this was a novella. So it was also like, the
super short.
plot was tight. Yeah. But right, yeah, she kept being like, oh, my wolf, like she's kind of like, so Annie Cryer is a doctor. Oh, what I also really got me is that like part of the description said that there was like a fertility issue in this clan of bears. And like, that's also one of my favorite tropes, because you're like, as soon as you know there's a fertility issue, just means somebody new has got to come in and bow chicka wow, I'll clear up your fertility issue quick.
Yeah. And like, then that's what happens. And it's like, and it was such an easy answer. I mean, like, for better way, which is good. But yeah, the fertility thing I thought was like really fascinating. And the fact that like this woman has like every single doctor degree. Do you know what I mean? And I love,
she had like 7 degrees.
Yeah. I'm just like, I've been really into like I'm really into Rachel Grant right now. Like, she's this suspense writer, and like all of her female characters are like Indiana Jones, and I'm like, they're doctors and they have like, they know this and know that, and I'm like, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
I want to woman who
definitely.
knows
Yeah, she's a genetic scientist too, which I was like, I love when we start getting to like the genetic science of shifter clans.
Yes.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because like I feel like when authors get into like DNA, I'm like, this is fascinating. Of like, oh, like sometimes it's a curse, but sometimes it's just like, hey, in your DNA, and this is you, and like you transition, and it's like, oh,
it's just like normal. And also the fact that like we've gone from, I think of like old, like back to like medieval things where like mermaids are kind of like monsters and werewolves are monsters. So the idea that like there's just a part of your DNA that means like you turn into a wolf or a bear, and like NBD, like find your people, hang out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so and another thing I found interesting is this. I want to read more of the books in this series. This is the first one I read, and I probably should have read just because like this was like a novella, but like there is this town that's Alphaville, which I thought was such a fascinating thing.
Yes.
It's like where, in most shifters have like clans, they have their packs or whatever, but there's the occasional outsider, and it's like, where do they go? They go to Alphaville. And I'm like, this is like, what a fascinating town, and like what a relatable thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also thought it's like a great device for whatever world building she's doing. It reminds me of Tessa Dare has Spinster's Cove or something. So that like all the spinsters in there will eventually get married, and like, but just the idea of like this town where you put some misfits, and then like literally anyone could show up there and anything could happen. So it's like a very good structural device as a writer to be like, anytime I need something a little bit magical to happen, I'll just pull it out of Alphaville. Like, great.
And it really does like differentiate this series from others. You know what I mean? Like that's what I think is just like so fucking clever about this. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Jonas Browning.
Well, I mean,
what a man.
I mean, it's a short book, but he is quick on the updraw. He's like, I mean, I love that. Like, they have the one meeting about like, he's like, hey, my clan's having some issue. I don't know if we can have progeny, and I need your science. And then, and meeting like her wolf is like, yikes, yeehaw! Like literally howling in her background.
Like legit. Like I pictured in her brain, her like a literal wolf is howling, and she's hearing it.
Yeah. It's like if you were like, I was trying to have a conversation right now, but in the back of my mind, something was going like, oh, I was like, that's what's happening.
Yeah. And it's like distracting.
And she's like, I'm my wolf is hot for, and then the wolves mate forever. They have like bonded pairs, like the trope you're expecting. And then he's a bear, and there's a big distinction that I was not aware of, the difference between brown bears and grizzlies and black bears. I didn't even know.
And it's like me neither. And it's like a stark difference, because like it feels like brown bears kind of seems like they're more rugged, like they have a lot of emotions that they need to contain versus like brown bears or black bears where it feels like they kind of have like, I don't know. Like I just felt like the brown bears in this book, I just pictured like people who live in like Appalachia a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit like loner, a little bit like more secluded or something. Yeah.
Versus the black bears who live in like the city or something. I don't know.
Right. So because everyone that she Annie the wolf, everyone that she talks to is like, he's a brown, like a grizzly. She's like, no, there's a difference. Yeah. So like, not even the other shifters know that there's a big difference, but there is.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, like I can set up my lab. Oh, she said also there's a like secret from her past where she's done something that we don't totally know the whole details about, but she's banished from her current plan. So she's kind of like, she's there to like figure out this science thing, which will like be doing a favor to her alpha. And then she can come back in the clan after she does this favor. So that's what she's in it for.
Yeah.
And then she's like, sure, let me like, I'll set my lab here and figure out your problem for you. And then then you switch like Joshua's POV and his bear is like, the both of them like, I don't know how they're talking to each other because their wolves and their bears are just like,
yeah, it is like a legit like like not what is it like not a brawl, but there is an ado happening between animals right now. Like it's like when a bunch of dogs bark at each other at the dog park, and it's like, guys, this is chaos.
Yeah, it's chaos. Yeah. So of course, like chapter 3, he's like they've just met. He's like, here's where your lab will be, and then they're making out. Like,
hands down.
Yeah, which you got to because it's a novella, so we got to like
and I'm like on board, and it's like they're feral, they're animals, and it's also like their culture a little bit, like they're part animals, and animals just like do it.
Yeah, they just do it. Yeah, like no shame, just do it.
No shame. He is very dominant. He is very alpha. Yeah, I was like jaw-droppingly alpha.
Do you watch a lot of TikTok?
I do, but I try to avoid it because I can watch it all day.
Same here. It's my favorite TV show. So somehow I have, not complaining, I have stumbled onto like kind of like sub-dom TikTok. So now my feed is just full of men that approach the camera and like try to tell me what to do, and I'm kind of okay with it.
Of course, yeah. I think that's so hot.
And I was like, these TikTok guys, they don't know nothing. Now that I've met Mr. Brown Bear Dom there, I think because of the 365 show on Netflix, like every girl was talking about getting like choked and pushed up against the wall. So like every guy on TikTok is trying to do that now, right? To like help you out because they heard it's what you want. And like I was like, they don't know nothing. Mr. Brown Bear, he knows what he's doing.
Exactly. Because I feel like with like an alpha, with a dom, there is a language that they are reading and understanding versus watching 365. It is what it is. Watching this subpar acting movie and being like, oh, okay, so they want me to just grab them by the neck, like, without even asking.
Right, and the animal parts of them, like, are very good at determining, like, scent and body language. So, like, there's a lot that's just kind of worked out there, and because they are, they're multilingual in different types of body language, really. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, it's like this pheromonal, I don't think that's a word, but you know what I mean. Like,
I think that,
Oh, it's pheromonal? Okay, yeah, you know what I mean?
I think so.
Yeah. But there's like a consent there.
Right. So it's going well. And then, of course, because she's a wolf, she's like, oh, it says you're my mate. So. Yeah.
And I loved that. Yeah. She was just straightforward. She was like, you're my mate. And he was like, no.
What? And she's like, we can't really help that part of it. Like, and so then, of course, he has to like a dude thing where he's like, no, brown bears don't mate like that.
Yeah.
And then she's like, fine, you're a jerk. And he does some other things too, which are just dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb
he's an asshole.
Freak out things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I like about that too is like, it's like when someone says, I love you too soon, and like somebody else freaks out. And in this world, it's like, you said we were mated. And like, that's totally freaking serious because you only do that once, So then he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
too much.
That's pretty jarring. Like, you make out with someone once, but you have this intense animal connection, and then they're like, we're mated. And it's like, it's a lot to take in, but it's also like, you're right. I just need to take 3 breaths, and then I'll be like, well, and it also made me laugh because I think of like Immortals After Dark or like other fated mates series where like immediately they're like, we're fated, and like, or the guy will be like, you're my mate, like, and especially if she's human and doesn't know what that means, and he like throws her over his shoulder and is like, I'm gonna bite you, mark you, and just like, wait, why are we hang on,
like a wedding ring is how we usually do this,
and it's like, we got a few dates first, get to know each other,
and he's like, no, I shoot off my leg to come get you, so you're mine.
I mean, the crazy things that they do for their mates. Like, I mean,
So in reverse, it's like, I'm like, he's kind of right. Like, like she's right. They're mated. There's nothing to do about it. But he's also not wrong to be like, can I just take that under consideration for a second?
And like, it's like, I get where he was coming from, but he was like a dick while doing it, And so she's like, whatever, fuck you. whatever.
Yeah.
She calls
Yeah.
her friend, and her friend like agrees with her. She's like, I know he's your mate, but he's a flaming asshole.
Yeah.
And then he talks to his mom.
Yeah.
And he has
and that's my favorite is that his mom just kind of, I think she actually slaps him.
Oh yeah, she's like, you're a flaming asshole. Well, she didn't say that, but she was like, you're an asshole. Yeah. You're
an asshole. She's like, that is your mate. And he's like, no, we don't mate, Mom. And she's like, then she has a whole backstory about something that happened in the clan that was tragic. And so they were like, oh, we're going to try not to have, because the brown bears are so passionate.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like when they mated, they were so in love with their mates, like they couldn't, like they felt too much. Like they didn't just mate, they mate, you know?
They mate, like, and like they can like destroy others in like, so it got so out of hand that people got like, the brown bear got afraid of the mated pairs.
Yeah, which is like such a human thing, because it's like, you know, like when you feel so much, you get into someone and you just like fall for them so hard, and then, you know, something bad happens, they turn you down or whatever, like the relationship ends, and then you guard yourself and you're like, never again, I'm not going to feel ever again, and then like then there's a fertility issue in your clan, but like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the mom is like, and also I love that to me, almost felt like Sesame Street when like someone sits you down on the stoop and is like, let's look at what you've observed.
Yeah.
Do your father and I love each other? Are we like basically fated? Are we like, you know, inconsolable with one another? And he's like, oh yeah, I guess so. She's like, yeah, that's called mated.
Yeah.
And he's like, we do that.
Yeah. So he learns.
So he learns. Yeah.
And then he marches.
Then in the meantime, she's like, she talks to her friend. Her friend's like, he's a jerk, but like, you know, like, let me know how it works out.
Yeah. Because she knows.
And then, exactly. I mean, it's mates,
their mates.
Like,
yeah.
Which again, like, it's so comforting to be like, a lot of stuff could go down, but like, it's your mate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's like such a fun conflict where it's like, you know who you're going to end up with, but it's the worst. And it's like such an interesting love journey to take of like, how are these two going to get together? They have to be together. And are they going to be miserable if they get together? And like,
Right. So one thing that I really appreciate about this too is, so it's a novella, so it all happens pretty quickly, but like she does a lot of research. She's like, solve this problem for you. He comes to apologize. And of course their bear and wolf are like, as soon as they see each other.
It is a fucking zoo.
Yeah.
It is a zoo.
And he's like, he actually does like throw her over his shoulder and is like, we're going to bed.
Yeah. He's like, you're my mate. And he legit throws her over the shoulder, takes her to his car, buckles her in, and drives her home.
Yeah. And then my favorite part is that she's like, okay, but first you have to apologize. He's like, I'm so sorry for everything I said. She's like, no, specifically, because I remember every sentence. And he's like, I actually don't. So she can make some like, it's a very human thing where he has to apologize for each and every offense that he caused. It's not just like, just because you're from my fated mate, you get like a blanket, I'm sorry. You have to be like, explain to me how you in every way were the flaming asshole I called you. And then he has to be like, I thought we couldn't mate, but we do. She's like, why are we going to be doing it if you think that we aren't bonded?
Yeah.
You know? So they, you know, they have a reconciliation, and then it's like, oh, let's go.
It was like a sex scene happened. A bear was growling and a wolf was howling. It was like, and it was just like, and like, it was just so fun to read the sex scene because it was like, it was just like her wolf howled. And it's like, can you imagine having an orgasm and hearing a wolf howl? Like, it was like,
great.
It was great. It was genius.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. That made me think that like, I feel fine about how I did it, but I was like, I never really thought about how like fish orgasm. I never did, or like, I thought about dolphins orgasming when I was writing, but not too hard because I didn't want to think too hard about it. But I was like, oh yeah, I never thought about like this, there's like the sounds, and then, and then there's always got to be like marking, right? Cause like you gotta bite somebody. And I always like that because it reminds me of like vampires and like other werewolf stuff. I'm like, yes, the biting is key. I don't know how you can bond to somebody without I mean, it's that's
like
key.
Yeah. I mean, marking, you know, you don't like, I don't want to be peed on. I'd rather be bit.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Especially like, I don't know about this world, but a lot of times when you're marked, then like other shifters just know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like either they can like see the bite even if it's not visible to the human eye, or they're just like, oh,
They just sense.
she's been marked. Yeah, they sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah. And then I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Now
like,
you
there's
know.
like something, I mean, again, and I think like it goes back to like, there's something so sexy of a guy being like, you're mine. And, you know, and it being like, I'm his and he's choosing me. I'm letting him be, you're mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's
exactly.
so
You're like,
great.
Also, like, you can't escape it, even if like, oh, that's also my favorite is like, you can't be the dumbass guy you want to be because there's no escaping this. So like, you're eventually gonna have to figure out your shit, or you're gonna make yourself more miserable than necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, it goes to show like, you know, being mated still comes with like its complications. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a marriage. Like, they treat it very much like when you're mated, this is a marriage. You still have to work together. You're going to have fights. Like, it's going to be hard, but this is love, you know? And it's like, it's not just, I mean, it's and happily ever after, but it's also like a realistic happily ever after.
Yeah, exactly. And then once and now they're bonded and like, and then also I love that they're like post-coital, like the proverbial cigarette, you know, moment. And she's like, by the way, my science brain fixed your issues. And then goes into like a detailed analysis of like the genetic science behind his clan. And then also he's like, seems to not have any idea of how brown bears actually mate. And she's like, don't you know your own? Well, anyway, so she's like, here's a biology lesson on your species. And she solves their problem.
And I think like their inability to mate, like their, you know, their cultural thing, like that was the cause. And
that was the cause.
Like,
they weren't bonding with the right people. And she's like, the shifters who are in stable situations are like the pregnancies. It's easier when they're pregnant and they carry the pregnancies. Yeah. And like, you guys have been afraid of mating. So you've been just kind of like having casual connections, which nothing wrong with a casual connection. But if you're trying for some shifter genealogy here, you guys are going to need to like mate up.
Yeah. And then also like what I appreciate is also she learns that like women can have babies later. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. She's like how old? She's like
late 30s. I'm like, great.
Yeah, she's like shifters, like these brown bears, like they're most fertile like later on. And like she's like, your girls are just too young.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like,
you need a seasoned woman. She needs to know herself and live her life. Yeah, like, and then she can find her fated mate. Yeah, her career.
Find her mate. Yeah,
sow her oats. You know, like
no need to freeze your eggs. Like it's gonna be fine. Yeah. I really appreciate
a brown bear
that.
needs to be seasoned first.
Yeah. You know, in a way, like that is like also a fantasy. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh my God, that's like what? Like, I mean, I can't speak for every woman, but like obviously, like I think a lot of women want to hold off having kids, and the fact that there's a world where you can is like just as like cool as a sexy man.
Right? No, it's like as much as the like sexy fantasy of like being claimed and marked and all, like a sexy fantasy of like, oh, you're actually at your like sexual and fertile peak after you've already lived some part of your life for yourself.
Yes.
Is like very appealing.
Yes. And it makes like, oh, it's going to make all of the characters interesting in the other books. Like, yeah. I mean, my overall thoughts on this book is that I loved it and I give it an A+.
Yeah.
A+.
Totally. 100%. I also really want to like commend Christine Warren on like, it's a very tight novella. It's only 11 chapters and she like had a full arc for everybody and a bunch of world building. And
it was funny. It was really funny.
And it was really funny.
Yeah. I just like love characters who are lively, who yell at each other, like, you know what I mean? Like who just like aren't afraid to speak their minds. Like it was just I love couples who argue and like and it was just so delightful. It's delightful.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It was awesome. Do you want to hear my true New York shifter story?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course I do.
So if anyone has read, I've only read the first in the series, but it is also hilarious. Shelley Lawrenson's Honey Badger series.
No, and I'm trying to, every time someone's like, I want to read a shifter story, I'm like, can we please read this? And but it's always over $5 and it doesn't go with I'm waiting. I am waiting.
Well, I've only read the first one, but it's like hilarious. It's just hilarious. And that one, the Honey Badgers are just banana pants. But in that first book, there's a bear clan that lives in Queens. And then there's a bunch of other clans. Yeah. Like there were so many animals that I can't remember all the different kinds of animals.
Right. Yeah.
But so they live in New York. So like every time I like have been in different parts of New York, I'm like, I wonder which of the shifter clans like lives here. You know, like I definitely don't think there's any in Manhattan. Maybe some panthers. I don't know. And those seem like Wall Street wolves, kind of maybe. You know, but so I was taking the ferry to the Rockaways, which is like a beach, a long beach area in Queens, and I was behind this man, and he had this like leopard or cougar cheetah print tattoo, and like just spacing out, I was like, he's Cougar Clan. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's totally Cougar Clan. And I kind of just started like following him because I was like, oh, he's from the Cougar Clan. Because I just started thinking like, where does he live? Like, I wonder like, oh yeah, where do you take the ferry from? Like, you know, like, right. And then his girlfriend kind of looks at me, and I'm like, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm staring, and they're a bonded pair, and you can never get between a bonded pair. She will rip your throat out, Laura. Oh my God. And then also I like lost my friends because I started following the wrong people. So my friends are like, where are you? And I like got off the boat, and they're like, we lost you. And I was like, I was following a shifter, but then I almost got cut by his lady.
By his mate.
By his fated mate. And I was like, thank God I had a mask on so they couldn't see like my abject horror when I realized I almost like came between a mated pair.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so
but
funny.
but like for a full like 30 seconds, I had myself convinced that like books are real and I was following someone from the cheetah cougar clan.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah.
I mean, I think I really was. So it could happen.
Know. If you were a shifter, like what's your animal that you would want to shift into?
Well, okay, so it depends. So in my mythology, mermaids are shifters because they can have legs on land and tails on the sea.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not every mythology. Sometimes they are just in a tail all the time. So I mean, I want to say a mermaid, but then if I could like release myself from my own branding, I would say I don't know. I might want to do like a classic wolf thing just like for the classic.
Same here.
Especially because I really like the Scottish werewolves in Immortals After Dark. So I think I'd be like, I want to go there. Yeah.
It just seems like it's this fun, like the thing I could never, this is really selfish of me. And I think I do need to work on this myself, but like I would have trouble being in a relationship with a wolf shifter, but I want to be a wolf shifter.
Yeah.
And it's like, am I being selfish? I don't know.
I mean, I definitely think it would be a little hard. I mean, it would be fun as like a human lady to be a companion to a wolf shifter just for like the marking parts and like like all that part. But no, I see the difficulty there too. Yeah. Like, well, right, because I'm also like the part that never really appeals to me is like, are you actually out of control during a full moon? Like, is it painful to shift? Like, how powerful are you? I'm also like never totally sure how I feel. I've read it both ways, and I just like. Sometimes I'm really into it when they have sex in their animal form, and sometimes I only want it in their human form.
Same,
and I can't. I'm like never sure how I feel about that. Actually, I'm gonna totally like if we're just gonna go full on like pie and the sky's the limit. I want to be a unicorn shifter. I want to like Pegasus. Like I want to fly.
That's
like
a
horse
shifter.
fly. Yeah,
that's a great shifter. Yeah, I like.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to just do the like mark. I want to be like I will beat you to death with my hooves and then fly away.
Yeah. Can shifters? Can there be multi shifters? Like, can you shift into whatever animal you want to? I feel like the only shifters I've read have only been like singular.
Yeah, I think usually if they can shift into multiple forms, it's because they are like already like a mythological character, like a phoenix or something that like can take different forms. As far as like when you're following the genre conventions of like shifter books, they're usually just one thing.
Because it like represents who you are, you know.
Right, like, and it's like it's the animal part. I mean, this is what I think is so interesting about the shifter subgenre is that like, you know, when you read like historical contemporary romance, like people will talk about like your animal instinct and like you meet your person and it does feel like the animal parts of you come out, you know, and like that's taken to the really literal degree in shifter romance that like your animal, the animal parts and like the parts of love and like desire that feel animalistic have a personification and they are like an important part of your identity. And like without acknowledging them, like you can feel powerless or like, or it's like to make you powerless, some evil force will like take your shifting abilities away.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so I think I really like the metaphor of like the animal parts of us are integral to like who we are and to like how we love and how we find community and how we make families.
Absolutely.
Which is the same thing as a mermaid is like that, you know, doesn't work without the fishtail. Like she is like not her most magical unless she is like also is her animal self.
Totally. Yeah. That's so, listen, it's coming full circle.
Full circle.
I
full
love
circle.
it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest. This was so fucking fun. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I want to plug
so much. And I was just like, I look you up. I'm like, oh my God, she does so much. But yes, if you have anything and everything you want to plug.
Okay. So I will just say, like, listen to the Mermaid Podcast. You can find it at mermaidpodcast.com because I made it easy for people to find.
Perfect.
And then all of my books are under $5.
Yay!
So you can get them. And my pen name is Laura Lovely. That's what all of the mermaid and fairy tale stuff is under.
Great name.
At some point I might publish under my real name, but all my stuff is under Laura Lovely. You can find it at lauralovelybooks.com, and I'm on Instagram there. I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
But Laura Lovely Books is where you can go for the books. And there's also a link on that website to the Mermaid Podcast, or you can go to mermaidpodcast.com. Those are like the two biggest things to plug right now, I think.
Cool. Yeah. Well, awesome. Big fan of the Mermaid Podcast. Big fan of you.
Thanks.
This was
super fun.
This was so fun. Too Stupid to Live is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. For more podcasts you'll love, visit frolic.media/podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day. 'Cause I just can't